Hello, and welcome to the Exponential Growth Podcast, powered by Analyst Investors. I'm your host, David Olivencia, co-founder of Analyst Investors, and a passionate advocate for leveraging innovation and technology to drive success. In this podcast, we'll dive into the strategies that top leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs are using to navigate and thrive in this era of accelerating technological change. Whether you're looking to lead more effectively, make smarter investments, or understand how to harness disruptive technologies for exponential growth, this podcast is for you. Each episode will feature conversations with visionary thinkers, industry pioneers, and innovative leaders who are redefining what's possible in today's rapidly evolving world. So if you're ready to start and stay ahead of this curve, let's get started. This is Exponential Growth. All right, everyone. Well, hey, welcome to another edition of the Exponential Growth Podcast. Today, we have a return guest, leader I've known multiple decades. We were just chatting before we got on the call. This leader has spent about 5 million miles traveling the globe. We can talk more about that, working with Fortune 500 companies, really globally, and is really a standout leader in the technology industry and business industry. Welcome to the podcast again, Juan Carlos Gutierrez, managing director at AWS.
Hey, David, thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be in this platform with you.
Yeah, no, great. And then so some people may not know what AWS is. It is Amazon Web Services, an interesting company name, super exponential growth. And actually interesting the way it was founded, right? Like they had all this excess capacity for the holiday season, right? And they said, why don't we sell this out there? And it's been amazing. And we'll chat on the growth. We'll chat. Let's just start right there. Let's just jump in. Amazing growth story, Amazon and growth and all that kind of stuff. Kind of maybe start a little bit at that beginning point, but then let's talk about kind of what's all the growth going on now.
Yeah, so well, we could be talking about that for hours, but David, I had been with Amazon 6.5 years, and I'm during these 6.5 years, I have experienced firsthand the speed of growth, the exponential growth to the name of your program. Amazing. Not only in the AWS side, but if you see Amazon is growing in our advertising side, Amazon, Music, Prime Video, with content, with series, Prime videos on sports, like we have NFL on Thursdays and, NBA. So it's everywhere, the growth, which, we are super humble and amazed internally. I find out recently, David, that in the last 72 years, only 4 companies have been the number one in Fortune 500. So you have Exxon, you have General Motors, you have Walmart, and recently Amazon is the number one global company in Fortune 500, and only 4 have been in that category in the last 72 years. So that
Only
tells
four,
you
only 4
companies.
in the last 72 years. Wow.
So, yeah, ExxonMobil, General Motors, Walmart, and now Amazon. And
Wow.
it is not only about the speed, but also the size and the growth, and it's super amazing. And with that comes a lot of responsibilities with customers, a lot of responsibilities with your team, with partners. And going with AI is driving a lot of this growth, in particular in AWS. So we're shifting from, a cloud first, company that we were born in the cloud, and actually we
Invented it almost from
basically created this market, the cloud
yeah.
market, to now be an AI first company, and we are in that transition. So that means changing the way we think, the way we build code, the way we do sales forecast, the way we work actually, and we can talk a little bit about that. But in the growth, things that are growing recently, like there is a new model every day, pretty much every
Yeah.
day there is a new
They're
foundational
they're they're
model.
trying to leapfrog each other, right? Everyone's coming out with one. They're trying to create a new one,
Yeah,
trying to market it, position it.
and that talks about the early ages that we are in this, in this race of the AI race, because it's moving really fast, and we are just at the beginning. So models, data, infrastructure investment. Amazon this year, our CEO Andy Jassy announced $200 billion of investment, capital investment for infrastructure. Because we think in Amazon always long term. That looks like it's a lot of money for capital investment, but this is not a 100 meters race. This is a long marathon, if you will, that
Yeah.
is gonna really drive a lot of changes in business and health and society and globally. It's not only for the U.S. So it is fascinating, the speed and the dimension of the business, and I think is we are at the you know tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
of what is possible. And
Well, and two,
one of
the
the
the other thing too is like if you go back whatever 20-ish years, Amazon just kept burning. Some people would say burning money. They weren't profitable many years. Wall Street kind of hit because they weren't making
yeah
any money. And Amazon's like, hey, chill out. We see where this is going. We want to dominate e-commerce, and when we do
yeah
that, we're gonna be really big, and obviously it played out well.
yeah. And we have talked about that in other occasions, David. Like the first thing, it goes to the mission of Amazon and the vision of Amazon as a company. Since the beginning, Amazon vision is to be the most customer-centric company on earth. And that hasn't changed. We created that vision, 1994 when the company was, established, and then we became public in 1997. And since then, because it's a public company, we have been sharing, results and the letter to the shareholders in our vision. And if you look to that letter that Jeff Bezos wrote in 1997, uh, it is fascinating. It is valid today from 1997. From the vision to where we were thinking about opportunities and growth, always putting the customer at the center. And that's why, we think always long term. It is actually written in that letter. So we don't sacrifice short term investments for numbers, results, the stock. It is always about the customer and always thinking long term. And there is a leadership principle in our culture. We have 16 leadership principles that drive our behavior and how we work in Amazon, in addition to the vision. One of those leadership principles is called invent and simplify, which is the one that is always calling everybody in Amazon to innovate, to be creative. Um, and in that leadership principle, it is written that we are willing to be misunderstood. So it is okay. We actually think that when the market, Wall Street, and others, they don't get it, then we are doing something right. Because if they don't get it, they say, well, why is Amazon investing in AWS, this business? You don't know anything about computing. You are a bookstore. That's
Yeah.
that's what happened when Amazon released AWS. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, we're willing to be misunderstood because we think this is a new market. It is
Yeah.
early. We are creating something. It's not internet. Cloud computing was something different. Even that other companies were saying, hey, that's internet. No, it's not internet. I mean, it's consumption, it's use, it's scalability. So that's what we now take for granted as cloud. To your point, 20 years ago was not there.
Yeah.
Now we're experiencing the same with AI. These capital investments with data centers, that have to be water efficient, that they have to be in locations that are with proximity to use cases where you need, robotics around these data centers to have, milliseconds and responses like autonomous driving. You need things that are not ready yet, but we're thinking long term. And that's what is happening with these investments, David.
Yeah, and it's almost let's say it's another phase of where the markets is, you say, hey, we're investing whatever, 200 billion, 300 billion, it'll likely be more. And the market is saying, Wall Street is saying, what? There's maybe a bubble forming here. They're investing way too much, and the market is it's like a deja vu again, right? And I think and this the way I'm seeing it, and everything that I'm seeing is that people and the market and Wall Street is grossly underestimating the amount of AI agents, the amount of transactions, the use cases of AI. If you think about, corporations right now, there's really it's really kind of human one-to-one use cases, and you don't have the thousands of AI
Correct.
agents doing transactions and all that kind of stuff 24/7, 365, no vacations, right?
Yeah.
When you put
Yeah.
that load on AI, it doesn't stop, right? I mean, competition and competitive and all that kind of stuff. The demand, I believe that is what Amazon is seeing that Wall Street isn't totally seeing yet. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're in, and this is why we do this exponential growth podcast, because that is coming.
It is
And
coming.
Amazon is preparing for
Yeah.
it. I mean, Amazon is getting ready for it again.
Exactly. And some numbers, David. So when we think about even cloud today, 80% of workloads that could be in the cloud, they are not in the cloud yet. So this is cloud. This is just talking about
Yeah, just
infrastructure,
basic,
data, just the
101.
cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have 80% of a possible cloud market already there, and that goes with mainframes, that goes with data centers that are physically, you know, um, in their customers that are not evolving to the demands that are, today you need for this digital transformation, this AI transformation. 80% only in the cloud. So on top of that, so even the 20% that are in the cloud, the workloads, not everybody's AI savvy. So there are a lot of things, that are, to your point, are not agentic yet. They are not integrated. There are, security is a big topic in this agentic transition. So it's a huge market there, with not only one player, with several, players that are competing,
Yeah.
because it's a big opportunity. Now, do we have everything right? No, I think one of the great comments from Andy Jassy's last letter to the shareholders, the one from this year, is that things doesn't happen linear. So it is okay that you plan one way and then it goes in a different direction because it's not linear. Our careers are not linear.
Yeah.
You know, we sometimes we plan something and then there are different events. We take decisions and we move on. That's what happened with markets and companies too. An example that I like to use is when Amazon released the Amazon, the Fire Phone. I don't know if you remember that case, but Amazon had a phone when after the iPhones, Amazon released a phone that it was called the Fire Phone, and it was a disaster. Okay, and so in a few months after it was released, we closed it. And what happened is that innovation and failure are twins; they come together. So what happened with that experience from the Fire Phone is that we reuse that knowledge of people and use it in Alexa and use it in personal assistant with Alexa. So now not in the Fire Phone, but in the devices that you have at home. And that became, an interesting learning. A lot of the things that we learn with Alexa, now you have it in the shopping carts. Now you have it in the integration with Amazon Prime and music that is personalizing content. So things are not linear. That's my point. And we're
Yeah.
gonna be learning a lot of things with AI and failing too. And I think that is okay. That is okay, because the opportunity ahead is so big. So let me tell you one thing that are very recent to me personally in the last 6 months that I seen as a big impact in AI, and it's the way we work. the way I
Yeah.
personally work.
Yeah. Because
So
you showed us like we maybe a couple podcasts ago, we talked about the leadership principles of Amazon. If you haven't listened to that podcast, you guys should all jump in and listen to that. But let's go more into like the way you work and maybe give our audience some kind of key takeaways as well, JC.
absolutely. So one of the, what is happening with AI is if you think about the one of the biggest use cases that are there is coding, is building, technology solutions because AI has accelerated the way we create code and programs, right? And also we document it, we test it. So the whole full cycle of a technology production, it is reduced and it's going faster. But also the way we work has been, I will say, competing as the number one or two use case. Um, in the you know in the recent past, we were using chatbots to help us with research and data and and being our personal assistants to get information. This is evolving. We have in Amazon a solution that is called Quick Desktop. So before it was called Amazon Quick, we have Quick Suite. It's a full suite, but now we have this solution in the desktop. Um, I can tell you in the last 6 months had changed the way I work. What does Quick Desktop for me and for everybody in Amazon? I can tell you. Um, it connects my data in my laptop, my mail, my chats, my documents, and personalize with all that data, personalize my experience. It has context. And that is a big difference. Data without context is noise. When you have data with context, that's when you have insights. And the context is around me. It's a graph of people that works with me, information, priority. So my customers, my team, my boss creates these relationships around my data that is giving me a different type of intelligence. For example, proactively can accommodate my calendar or proactively can summarize a meeting ahead of time because analyze my calendar, my meetings, and can make recommendations ahead of time for me. So I now have a portfolio of agents, not only one, a portfolio of agents that are working for me 24 by 7, accommodating the calendar, preparing me for a meeting with a pre-brief of a meeting that I'm going to have with a customer, summarizing a previous, meeting that I have with a customer and following, with actions, communicating that to my team, updating my sales forecast directly in our CRM, identifying issues and telling me, hey, this is a priority, ahead of time. So all that is happening in what is, and it's like magic because the more that I use it, the more that knows me. And it's starting to be proactive in telling me things like, hey, you should change your travel plans for next week like a out of there a recommendation because you have these conflicts, you are not going to have time to do this document or suggestions that are coming to me as a personal coach of work in a proactive way. So that's an example. When I go to a
Really
meeting,
cool. That's really cool. And that's where it's
it
going.
is.
Like if you're listening to this podcast and this is where you're going to be getting feedback and stuff before you even think you need it. That you say, wow, that's nice to have, right? That's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. And like again, going to a meeting with a customer. Before the meeting, I get a pre-brief already prepared where, the top priority for that customer. External research is not only my information, like, hey, this industry now is having these three topics. You should bring that to the conversation with, the CEO that you're going to meet at lunch. So, and maybe suggestions about follow-up. So all that is coming to me personalized, so I'm ready for that interaction. So that is, before that will, that will had been like days of preparation from an account team, from meetings like okay, which are the topics that I need to address. Now it's like ahead of
Yeah.
time, and I just read it and I'm ready. So updating after that meeting, updating my my pipeline, my follow up, communicating to the team is done also automatically. And those are quick examples. And today, so a year from now, David, it will be more interesting. So with I don't know, I can tell you, but voice recognition is a big thing that is happening in the future. So instead of me making notes, things are gonna be mutually
Yeah.
agreed but
Also taking
recorded.
notes.
Yeah, just like we're
Yeah.
doing right now.
Looking at your calendar a month from now and just saying, Juan, based on where your goals are, this doesn't even seem right. Why are you meeting with this person here? You should be doing this. You should be doing this. Think about this a little bit. Why are you traveling here? Your biggest customer, the biggest opportunity is here. You should be spending more of your time here.
Yeah.
You're not spending enough time with your team. I mean, it could be, I mean, that's easily where it's going to go. And you can see what goes on beyond that, right?
You and me that we travel a lot, and I learned actually from you not having a lunch alone like in the book, and that's a
Yeah.
waste of time. But in the past, when I traveled to a city, I was always like asking, "Hey, is anybody here? Can we have a lunch?" So with agentic, is basically doing that work for you and recommending you, hey, now that you are going to Chicago, you should talk to these people that it's been a while. You want me to send an invitation to them and and make a reservation? That is happening.
Yeah,
That is happening
totally.
right now.
Totally, totally. Yeah, no, it makes networking is like the next generation of networking. So, no, really, and so the other way, so anything else on the way we work that you want to share?
So yeah, the way we work, and this is more a more recent reflection, there is all these agentic solutions are making you more efficient, more autonomous to like it's how augmented your way of work. The challenge is um, becoming more isolated. So it is important that when you build agents and the tools that you use, they are built to collaborate also with your teams, sharing, like on a share plays, the learnings, the calendar, the priorities. So it's not only about you, it's about, the team that is working with you. And that requires a little bit of a balance these days. So like I went to this meeting and then sharing that with the account team, sharing that with my boss, sharing that with the key stakeholders, and not just keeping that for me. Okay. So I think that we are evolving in that part because everything that agentic is doing is more about your own productivity,
Yeah,
integrating that in teams in a
your
very
team
smart way.
productivity. Yeah.
Exactly. It is evolving right now.
Yeah, it's almost like you think about it, you and your agents helping you, your agents and communicating that to the individuals, right? Your boss, your
Into other
team.
agents.
And to other agents, that's where I was going to
Yeah.
go, right? Enabling other agents, right? And so you got this whole agentic communication thread of your, you're out on the beach and your agents are talking to each other about ideas and, plans and
Exactly.
strategies and things you need to execute on. But yeah, it's important. I mean, that's how I mean, in the end, it's teams and the thing with agents, right, is like, and I think it is very cheap, well, relatively cheap, I think getting cheaper to spin these things up and have them do their own thing, right? I mean, and they work 24/7, 365, no vacations, they don't complain. Uh, so yeah, that's an important one. Uh,
Yeah.
well, good, man. So look, to those listening, a lot of things coming to the way you work, right? And it's hard to believe, like in 2 years, like what more could you think of? But I'm sure there will be more things, right? That would
Yeah.
make us more amazing.
You can extrapolate that to the way you work, to the way you take vacations, the way you get entertained, the way you learn. So it's the way you live. but I am
Yeah.
experiencing that in the work, but it's happening with everything that you do.
Sure.
So the way you learn, the way you get your, the programs, recommendations for, and Amazon did that with books a while ago. Like, hey, if you like this book, you should read this book. Agentic is bringing this proactively, like, hey, you finished this series, you should see this one. And
Yeah.
you want me to let your family know that you are watching this,
Yeah.
and then you want to have a watch party on this. You want me to put in your calendar a watch party so everybody can see Ted Lasso, like
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example, those things it is different, but it's
Yeah.
the way you live, not only the way you work, is starting to change.
So that's so we, AWS growth, a little bit how, how we're going to be working or how you work and how that what's kind of foreshadow to those who are listening. Let's talk about you and the leadership role that you have at one of the world's largest companies, obviously one of the top AI cloud companies in the world. You work with a lot of CEOs, boards,
Yeah,
and they're coming to you saying, "Oh, what do I do?" They're maybe curious, they're maybe scared, they're
yeah,
maybe they're if their CEO, their board is pounding on them to
yeah,
do more with AI. What do you What are you seeing? What maybe give a
yeah.
little
What
bit
are
to
the
our
topics
audience.
there?
What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, so the first thing that like a board topics, right? And also executive topics. The first thing is that this is for real. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you know, there was a Gen AI new scene that everybody was experimenting and looking for use cases to prove this was real or not. I think those times are gone. We already have a lot of impact with use cases and agents that are changing businesses. So that is the first thing. This is for real, and the speed of adoption, it is exponential. When you compare, for example, the number of months that took Instagram to get 100 million users, that was done in 39 months. TikTok, 9 months. ChatGPT, 2 months. In 2 months, ChatGPT got 100 million users. So now this is becoming faster. Like you can get a
Yeah.
product right there, and in days, have a global, community using it. So the speed of change, first thing that I told the boards, and that means the speed of the board has to be also faster. So that means the number of times that now a board gets together, that you get an answer, is not anymore every 3 months, and we are going to analyze the AI strategy of the company and then we review it in 3 months. In 3 months, you have so many changes that can be impacting your business. So that's one topic that I have. The second one is investments. Just like I share AWS is Amazon is investing 200 billion. Many others are investing a lot of infrastructure from Nvidia, from
Yeah.
water supply companies, the governments, and on a global capacity. Anthropic investing $100 billion in commitments also with
Nvidia.
AWS,
Nvidia, right? I mean,
Nvidia.
yeah.
So when you see all these investments, the question that I do to boards is, are you also investing on this? How's your investment? Are you, because capital expenditure, it is around this. And if you don't have it in your radar, there is a gap. Okay. The other thing is, how are you using as a board and your executive? How are you using this? Or you are delegating this to an innovation team, to the technology team, to come to you with technology. This is not a technology topic. AI is a business topic. It's an innovation topic. And not
Totally.
having this at the board level or at the C-suite level is a big risk. It's a risk of a continuity. It's a risk, with your competitors. So it is a topic that moved from an experiment maybe 2, 3 years ago to really a priority at the board level and at the executive suite. So those three topics are key ones. If there is another one, I would say it's more not on the technology side, it's on the human side. The number one um, obstacle for agentic and AI adoption, it is not technology. Okay, because this, so you could be doing right now with agentics coding, you can create an application in hours. You can create a new CRM, in hours. Okay. So it's not about building the technology. It's about how us as humans in our teams are prepared to adopt this. How is our EQ, empathy for others, you know, working together and collaborating, as teams in this transformation, integrating the partners and the customers in the innovation cycle. All that is more on the human side, and it's not only technology skills. I'm talking about more about emotional intelligence as a big differentiator. This is a topic that I put on the board level, because it requires workforce transformation too. It's not only IT technology transformation; it's the workforce transformation. The
Totally.
way we organize the teams, it is not, you know, now an structure that you have several layers. On the contrary, now you can have the business, the technology, your law, your legal department all together creating new solutions and going faster. So all that requires a different human EQ evolution. That is a key component for the conversation that I have with executive and with the board.
Yeah,
Those
those.
are my four topics.
Yeah, I don't know, and it's like the thing. I mean, things are happening like it's like people are trying to do things the very traditional way. There's this like tension, right? There's all this change that's happening and still these same processes that happen. Quarterly board meetings, you think about banks too. I mean, like just the or traditional industries that have their governments, right? Our government are, they're going to be out for a month, right? They come back, they campaign, usually like our federal government has been the cadence has been pretty much the same, right? In time and things are happening and changing really, really fast. It's a good tension, right? Because it's also there's a good tension, but it'll be interesting to watch that tension play out. I'll call it just traditional processes and traditional ways of doing things, and the way things are really changing. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see. And on that note of what's changing, what's happening, I'm going to write about this. I've written about this in the past, but I just saw they had this Chinese robot that's already running like 100 meters in like 9 seconds or 8 seconds. It showed it the video, and then they jump like they were able to jump
Yeah.
higher than any. And I think I read today in the Wall Street Journal that they grew. I think they shot up 400% or some crazy in their IPO or something like that. One of these Chinese robot companies, and obviously Elon Musk is doing some stuff with Optimus. But this is this whole area of this next thing of
Yeah.
physical AI, and
Yeah.
wanted to get your thoughts and what, a little bit to the extent you can share Amazon and AWS, what they're thinking. You guys have warehouses, got all kinds of things going on. This is just such a huge area that's coming out. Give us your thoughts on physical AI and what's happening there.
So it is the next wave for sure. So we move from AI, traditional AI, machine learning, deep learning when we were doing face recognition and security, all that, to Gen AI that became this great momentum with the chats and all that. Agentic, which is what we are experiencing right now. So the next wave that is actually starting to happen is this physical AI. And what is the difference between traditional robotics that we had been experiencing for a while? It's the mix of that robotics with agentic AI and the AI models. So when you add these models to robotics, so you have the possibility, we call it the sense, think, and act as a difference. So versus a manufacturing solution, robotic traditional way, or even in the supply chain where robots are doing the same activity, they are super efficient, but I would say the thinking is not there versus putting AI models to these robotic solutions, they can sense what is happening, and that's where the autonomous driving concept comes. You sense, traffic, other cars, etc. You think, what are you going to do based on, models, of course, and then you act. So when you put that in perspective, is let's say humanoids that could be, with you in the house, helping, for, your personal needs, or, for, let's say, earthquakes that could be helping, some of the crises that we have experienced in Latin America recently. Imagine a humanoid with a lot of strength that could be doing a lot of the work that today you need these, rescuers that are very scarce, being done by humanoids. So that is where we are going with the physical AI. Early stages, but when you combine the possibilities of robotics with this, visionaries are saying that there is a world where every human can have a humanoid. So imagine
Or
that.
at least
10
one,
billion.
at least one.
At least one. So 10 billion humanoids. Some families will have more, some families will have less, just like cars. But yeah, so that is a vision of the possibility of humanoids. But you can apply that to, in retail, fulfillment centers. Amazon has been doing this for a while. Robots helping the efficiency of the fulfillment centers and distribution centers. We have in our experience in Amazon also Prime Air, which is, delivery with drones.
Oh,
All that use physical AI already. So drones that are becoming smarter in the way we deliver products. So a lot of industries that have humans and physical components will have a physical AI use case. Okay. And I mean, the traditionals are manufacturing, retail, energy, construction, um, but really can be immersed in everything, especially when you have a human, because can be, your support in the physical activities, not only in the intellectual activities. So it is fascinating. We have actually, I'm doing right now a physical AI hackathon with my team here in Washington, D.C., because it's becoming not only a trend, it's becoming a reality in what we do in AWS.
totally. Well, what they said, I think 2040 is the year. I think there's roughly, I think the number where there'll be more humanoid robots on Earth than humans is roughly
So,
2040 is the year where it eclipses, right?
yeah, there
And
are
by the way,
ambition. Yeah, but at least
yeah,
101.
yeah. But then two, then you're on space, right? These things, and
Right.
they can like self-create. Like I always say, human takes about 9 months to make a human, right? These robots be able to make them like pancakes or tortillas for those. So it's an interesting and then in space, right? You should be able to just auto create them. So it's a interesting times coming up there, and I think for those who are listening, this just should give you a view in that. Amazon is definitely leading. It could be whether it's the manufacturing, the drones, all the AI, right? The sense, the act, or sense. What was it? Sense, engage, act, or
Sense,
what was it? What were the
think, and act.
sense,
Sense,
think, and act?
think,
Well,
and act.
AI of that, right? Well, how you sense, how you think, and then ultimately, what are the best choices to do to act? So Amazon's a leader in there. So for those who are listening, it just you think about all the ground that we covered today, whether it's Amazon and their growth, and all the lessons that you can learn and model in your own companies or in your own lines on how to grow like Amazon did. So that was one. And then Juan talked about the way we work, right? A lot of interesting nuggets that you can take away from just how Amazon is working and give you a foreshadowing of what you're going to do, in the work. And then if you're, in the board or C-suite or even aspiring, executive, just some things that boards and the speed of change are thinking or should be thinking about in these times of exponential growth. And lastly, this physical AI, right? Which is it's just we're in the really early, but so much is coming there. It's going to be amazing to see, when you're just walking out the street and you see humanoid robots coming and drones flying all over the place and all kinds of stuff. So JC, any last, words that you'd like to share, kind of maybe wrapping all that together and kind of what you see to the audience?
So I will say, if I can say maybe two words, one is a grateful and the other one is optimism. So when you mix those two, I think we are experiencing great times and momentum with the possibilities that all these technologies and the combination with us as humans and our big differentiators, which is empathy, communication, caring, purpose, that is not going to be replaced with anything that we said, the humanoids. That is our uniqueness. But I think grateful for the opportunity to combine those things and very optimistic for the possibilities to have a better society when you combine those two.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I think I've learned, and I think reinforces just in the years or decades I've known you, JC, is just this focus on gratitude. So, on that, flipping that back, I'm grateful and honored that you made it a priority. So many things going on at AWS that you've taken some time here to chat with me, and then all the listeners out there to share some amazing wisdom and nuggets. And we'll keep up. We'll have you back on the pod. Some interesting things coming up here that we'll have you back on for. And yeah, thanks again,
Thank you,
JC.
David. Thank you so much, man.